One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to krystalproffitt.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's krystalproffitt.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to krystalproffitt.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to krystalproffitt.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode. How do you run a successful podcast review giveaway? This is the question I asked myself, and I've seen so many times, and it's really the reason why I did the Proffitt Podcast Review Giveaway in April 2021. Well, now in today's episode, I'm going to do a debrief, having finished the giveaway, like sent all the prizes, and I've seen y'all posting that you got your books and you got your things. So thank y'all so much. It's been so much fun to do this giveaway, but I know that y'all have so many questions. Well, how did it work? How did you end up doing it? And I wanted to share some of the behind the scenes of what happened now that it's been more than 2 weeks since the giveaway is over. So that is what we're going to talk about today. So let's get right to it. Welcome to the Proffitt Podcast, where we teach entrepreneurs how to start, launch, and market their podcast. I'm your host, Krystal Proffitt, and I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today, because if you've been trying to figure out the world of podcasting, think of this show as the time-saving shortcut you've been looking for. So let's get right to it, shall we? Okay, so like I said in the beginning, the podcast review giveaway ended over 2 weeks ago, and I've had some time to really look at the numbers and see what happened, but also pull from my notes what worked and what didn't work. So for anybody that's listening and you have not listened to the first episode that we did about this, so if you go back and listen to episode 250, which is how to run a podcast review giveaway, that is the episode where I break down and kind of lay out what I was planning to do. And this is that's the before, and this is the after of how I actually executed everything and how everything ended up working out. Like I told y'all in that episode, it's kind of like a scientific experiment, right? I'm like, okay, so I have my hypothesis. I have what I think is going to happen whenever I do this review giveaway. And so I want to share with you the results, what I learned, what worked, what didn't work, and just more information behind the scenes because I know y'all love that. I know y'all love that so much. So if you are thinking about doing a review giveaway for your podcast, I hope that you find today's information helpful. And we're going to dive into it. So first and foremost, you can find everything that we're talking about by going to krystalproffitt.com/episode 255. I'm going to put some links in there and some information, like kind of the highlights of what we're talking about here today. But I really wanted to go back to why I decided to do this. I've had so many people ask me, well, what happens if I get a spike in reviews, right? Will I jump up in the charts? Do I need to get a certain number? And there's just a lot of questions about podcast reviews that I didn't necessarily know how to answer. And I wanted to just experiment for myself. And in episode 250, I talked about, this has been on my calendar. If you've been around here, you listen to the show, I plan my year in quarters. So I knew that in quarter 2, I wanted to do the review giveaway. And one thing that I'm really glad that I did is I made the giveaway 5 days. So it was from Monday, April 26th through Friday, April 30th. And there's a few reasons why I chose these particular dates. I had some other things going on at the beginning of April. We were redoing the website and changing some things up. So I didn't want to put the pressure on myself to do it then. But I also like the idea of the end of April, like it's like finalizing on a Friday. I don't know what it was. I was like, oh, this is cool. We could do it on a Friday, April 30th. And then that means like that's the end of the month. And I don't know about y'all, but I love a new beginning. And so I also love like the end of something. And so even though it wasn't like the end of a quarter, it was the end of a month. So I thought, well, that could be really fun. It's like, hey, it's like at the end of April. And it was a way for me to talk about it well in advance before giving specifics, because I could say in the month of April, we're doing a review giveaway. And so for anybody that's considering doing something like this, launching anything, like this is the secret, pay attention here. The secret to launching anything is talking about it way in advance. Because if I would have just sprung this on my audience on Monday, the 26th, I probably wouldn't have had as much participation. I probably wouldn't have had as many questions or people reading my emails or looking at all the information for this giveaway. And so as soon as you know you're going to do it, let's say you're going to do a review giveaway in the fall, start talking about it now. Even if you don't know exactly, is it going to be September, October, November? Like start talking about it now. Like, hey, we're going to do this really fun giveaway in the fall and I can't wait for you to participate. Start dropping those little gems and nuggets right now as you figure out those things, because if you've been around here for a while, you knew that this was coming, right? It wasn't like sprung on you all of a sudden. They're like, oh, Krystal's doing a review giveaway. Like you knew because I had been talking about it. I had teased it a little bit on Instagram and I had talked about it in an email the day before the review giveaway started. But let's go back to 5 days. I loved the 5-day timeline because it gives people enough time to enter, right? Like 5 days is enough. Like if they don't hear about it on day 1, there's a good chance they'll at least hear about it on day 2 or 3, and then they can enter. And then you have a sense of urgency on that last day to really get people to jump into action and enter their review, because usually that's when you would do like your biggest prize. Your grand prize winner would be announced on that last day. And that's really what I kind of predicted would happen. And that's how it played out. I've seen other giveaways that last up to 2 weeks, and that's just too long. In my opinion, it's too long for you to keep up your momentum of like, hey, don't forget about the review giveaway. Don't forget about it. Don't forget about it. And like people kind of lose steam. But if you only do it for one day and you don't talk, like you don't have a really big lead up to that one day, I fear that the results that you're really looking for won't be there. So 5 days was a great amount of time for me. I still feel really comfortable with that. If I'm going to do this again in the future, I love a 5-day giveaway. It worked really, really well for me. Okay, the second thing that I want to talk about, so it was the first thing, like the dates, the times, how it all worked. It worked out really well. Actually, let me go back to times because we didn't talk about, well, I guess that will fit in with the prizes. I'm like, is this part of date? Is it part of prizes? It's kind of one and the same. But whenever I announced the prizes, I knew ahead of time which date and time I was going to release which prizes. And this goes back to planning, and we're going to talk about planning like more in detail in a second, but it goes back to laying everything out before it starts, like well before it starts, not the day before. Like, you know what? I think I'm going to do a giveaway, and then this is probably when I'm going to announce it. No. We don't do that around here. We are planners. And even if it's just a week before, I want you to get some of these thoughts out of your head onto paper, in a Google Doc, wherever you want to put it, on a whiteboard, but get it out of your head because this will help you stay more organized. So what I decided was what time would work best for me to announce winners. And I'm sure y'all know this. If you've been around here, I have 3 kids. Some of them are in school all day. I have my youngest who is at home with me 3 days a week. And so I was like, okay, what time would work best to give people enough time to enter, right? Like, so if they saw an Instagram post that morning or one of the emails, what would give them enough time to enter, but also announce the winner for that day before everybody else is going to sleep? You see what I'm saying? Like, you want to give them enough time to enter, but not so much where you're like, oh crap, it's like 10 o'clock at night and I forgot to, I'm not awake at 10 o'clock at night, by the way. Bedtime is 9. I'm usually asleep by 9:15. Okay. Like, true story. That is my life because I get up at 5 a.m. So that's how we roll in this house. I go to bed very, very early. So in knowing that, 3 o'clock sounded really good because then when my older kids are home, I didn't have to worry about like, oh man, I forgot, I got to go do this. And then there's craziness in the background. I knew that is the time that would work for me. So I highly recommend finding the days and the time that would work for you. Like, if you are busy on a Sunday or you take Sundays off, don't do a giveaway over the weekend. Don't do it. Don't do that to yourself. Like, if you're the one making the rules, don't do that. I knew I didn't want to do it over the weekend. I was like, nope, we're going to do this like through a quote unquote work week, Monday through Friday. And that was it. I wanted to be done by 3 p.m. on Friday. I wanted to be done with it. So now let's go into prizes. So I knew the prizes that I wanted to give away were perfect for this audience. I already knew that. And it was really validated when I started announcing them and people were saying, oh my gosh, I need this, or replying to my emails or commenting on Instagram saying, oh my God, like I cannot wait. Like, how do I enter? What's the information? What are the details? I started getting feedback. So that really validated for me that I was on the right track with the prizes. So my prizes for this giveaway were signed copies of my book, Start a Binge-Worthy Podcast. If you haven't gotten your copy, don't worry. I'm gonna have a link in the show notes for you to check it out. But that was something that I knew that this audience, it's related. It's about podcasting. So that would work well. Another thing that I decided was to do coaching calls. Now, coaching calls, these were a little bit shorter than a typical one that I would do with clients, but I thought, well, this would be really good because I'm not overly committing myself. And if there were multiple people that were doing 30-minute sessions, I could give away more of those than hour-long sessions. And I liked the idea of having these coaching calls available to more people instead of like, oh, there's only 2 of those. I was able to give away, I think, up to 4 of those. So that was really cool. I liked that. And then access to my program, Proffitt Podcasting. So these were all of the prizes that I knew y'all would be excited about. but y'all blew me away with your excitement. This was the grand prize. Like, this was the one where people were like, holy crap, last day, I'm getting in on this. I didn't know that this grand prize was going to be this good. And that was, I had a Focusrite interface and a pod mic microphone from Rode. So this is like next level podcast equipment. Like, it was a few $100s worth of podcast equipment that I had. And I knew, oh my gosh, it would be so cool if I could give this to a one lucky podcaster. That, in my mind, it was kind of like this fantasy of fun to be able to say, oh my gosh, it'd be so cool if I could give this to someone who was really into podcasting and they wanted to step it up, and maybe someone that had never even thought about investing in equipment. This was like everything that was going on in my head. Like, I imagine myself as a young podcaster, like a baby podcaster just getting started and getting some like legit podcast equipment. I would just have been over the freaking moon. So that was a lot of fun. And that was like where the post kind of started blowing up, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're giving this away. And still to this day, people will go back and see those posts and say, what, is it too late to enter this? I'm like, yeah, that's already gone. So congrats again to Leah over in the UK. She got that prize and it was so fun. I've already done my coaching call with Leah. She's launched her podcast. I'm going to have a link to it in the show notes, but I am just like, it was so fun to see her excitement on camera. And whenever I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be sending you, your equipment. And this actually brings up my next point is she was like, are you sure? Like, I live in the UK. And the point that I want to make is I actually had a lot of international winners. And so I had, whenever I went to the shipping place, right? I'm like, I got all my books, I got my equipment, and I got my 5-year-old in tow. And we show up and, I'm like, I have all these books. And whenever I launched my book, I sent about 20 copies to a bunch of different people and some influencers and some peers that I really wanted them to have a signed copy. And so whenever I sent those, I knew that if I was shipping in the US, they'd probably be about $5 a piece. So I was thinking, okay, if I give away 10 books, that's roughly $50 in shipping costs, right? Because I've already paid for the books. Like, the books are here, they've been sitting in my office. And so it wasn't really a big expenditure for me to send up to 10 books for this giveaway. I was comfortable with that. But what I hadn't factored into the price of, or the cost of running this giveaway was my international winners. So shout out, we had Belinda in Australia, we had Lori in Canada, we had Leah in the UK, and I feel like I'm forgetting someone else. Did we have 3 or we had 4 internationals? But the shipping was more, right? It was like $20 more to send it to Canada. I think it ended up being like $35 more to send everything to Australia. And then it was around $75, I think, to send all of the podcasting equipment over to the UK. And so I remember thinking, you know what? This is one of those expenses, one of those costs that I'm totally okay with. Now, I can say that because I have my business and I've set aside, cash for doing these types of things. If you want to call it being part of your marketing budget or being part of your, I don't want to say disposable income because that's not related to a business, but that's how I think about it, right? If your podcast is part of your personal business or your personal finances, and you haven't really switched gears from doing it from just a personal standpoint into your business, then I would look at it as how much money are you willing to invest in a giveaway like this where you feel comfortable? And I felt comfortable with around $200. $200 is something that I felt like the business could handle, and it would be something that is like a fun business, like expense to send all of these incredible gifts to members of this community. It's my way of giving back to y'all in all the ways that you have supported me. And I was okay with that. But I want to flip the script on for a second to everybody that's listening to this, because maybe you don't have $200. And I get that. I wouldn't have had $200 whenever I launched my podcast to, spend in prizes and giveaways and doing that kind of stuff. So for a second, I want you to think outside the box and say, what is something that I could send that is possibly a digital product to members of your community? And the reason why I say digital is because that takes out the factor of shipping. So I want you to think about gift cards. Like, would a gift card to Amazon be good? Or what about Target? Like, is Target internationally in the countries where your listeners are? Or some other type of, maybe I'm trying to think of other businesses and industries that would have companies like all over the world, and start thinking of what are some products or services, or maybe you have your own digital products and you could say, you know what, I'm just going to give away access to my course. I'm going to give away 5 people to my course because technically that doesn't cost you anything. Right? If you've already created your product, it's there, or you have a membership, you could give away a 6-month membership or a year-long membership. Right? So I want you to think outside the box, but at the end of the day, think about, are your prizes aligned with what your podcast is about? Because, and I've mentioned this before, when I see people do giveaways for there's a brand new iPad and there's a brand new iPhone, or, some like a ring light. Do your people use those? Of course. I bet everybody could use an iPad, a ring light, but are they going to stick around afterwards? Is that something that's going to get them super, super excited? Because I know the people, because I had some of y'all reach out to me like, oh my gosh, y'all were cracking me up, because after I chose a winner, I sent them an email that said, yay, you're a winner. Like, send me your mailing address and let me know how we can get these to you. Congrats, you're a winner. And I got so many responses that were like, holy crap, I cannot believe I won. Or, oh man, this is so exciting. And there was one that said, dude, no way. So I knew that I was on track with these prizes. And so I want to make sure when you're focusing on a giveaway and how you're going to do it, that you think, how does this align with my business, my podcast, and how can I make sure that everything is cohesive? But keep in mind, if you are going to have physical products and you have international people entering your contest, you could possibly have all international winners and you're going to have to pay for that. So just know I wasn't even upset about it. I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, I get to, ship some prizes internationally. Like, it was a lot of fun for me because I look at it as karma. And I'm like, when you do stuff like that, when you honor the prizes and the people that have won and took time to enter the giveaway, I just believe in good juju, good karma sent out there. So I'm still really excited about our international winners. That was a lot of fun. Starting a podcast can be super overwhelming. How do I know? Well, because I've been there. I have been in your shoes. If you are just now in the creation stage of getting your podcast up and running, then I invite you to check out Proffitt Podcasting. This is my digital program that teaches you all the ins and outs of how to start, launch, and market your podcast. I want you to go check it out and see if it's going to be the right fit for you. If you're looking for a way to understand exactly how podcasting works, you want to know how to create content, how to launch your podcast, how to get it on all the players, but most importantly, how to tell people about it without feeling like you're alienating your friends, your family, your neighbor. Like, I want you to go check out Proffitt Podcasting. So go to krystalproffitt.com/course to learn more about Proffitt Podcasting and to enroll today. krystalproffitt.com/course to check out more. Okay, let's get back to today's episode.
Being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants.
Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
Okay, so we talked about the dates and the times. We've talked about prizes. Now I'm going to circle back around to what we were talking about earlier, and that is planning everything out weeks in advance and scheduling emails and social posts, because when you do this, it gives you so much more breathing room whenever you're actually in it. Like you're in the giveaway. It gives you more space to be more kind of impulsive if you want to be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to do an IG live on this day, or I think I'm going to do a Facebook live, or, you know, I'm going to go do some kind of Zoom call for everybody just because that would be fun. It just gives you more breathing room when you're more organized and you have everything planned out. Now, I know I'm a little kind of over the top when it comes to my planning, but I use Asana. I use the free version of Asana. I've played around with like upgrading, like, do I need to upgrade and get all the other things? But maybe one day I just use the free version of Asana. And what I did is I opened up, I have like, I'm looking at it right now. So if you hear me clicking around, that's what happened. And I'm going to do a YouTube video about this. I haven't done it yet. So, but I will link back to it in the show notes. Whenever it's finished, I'll upload it. But in the month of April, whenever I have my yearly, like I have my yearly plan, guys, like y'all should see my Asana. I feel like such a nerd, but you know what? It works for me. It helps me stay organized. So for the month of April, my big one thing was to do the review contest. And so I have my review contest and I have my stats before, and then we're going to walk through my stats afterwards in a second. But I want to go into the actual detailed organization of what I had. And this will be a lot easier to understand in a video format because I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you everything. But I just wanted to give you the highlights. So what did I create inside this review contest Asana board? Basically, I did a brain dump of all the things I thought would be needed to, like, that the things that needed to happen in order for this giveaway to be a success. And I got these ideas from other giveaways I've seen other people do. So feel free to steal any and all of these ideas, right? I don't have a patent on any of these. It's why I'm sharing them with you, because I want you to have a successful giveaway that you feel proud of. But the first thing I knew I needed to do was create a Google form. And so I created a Google form and, or I like wrote it down as one of my tasks that I needed to do. And then I asked myself, okay, well, what needs to happen in this Google form? And if you're not familiar with Asana, it's kind of like having nesting dolls. So you have like your high level Google form, and then I could click into that and then write, okay, what are the things that need to be on the Google form? And I put name, email, and a screenshot of the review. And I've talked about this before, but the reason why we needed a screenshot is because it takes time for reviews to populate. And especially, I was doing this right in the middle of Apple announcing they were going to make all these changes. So it made me nervous that it wasn't going to happen. But luckily, everybody figured it out. And I do have some comments and reviews or review information that I got back from the community. And one of them was possibly not having it be strictly for Apple in the future. And don't worry, I did open this up to other platforms, but I did have on the Google form, go to Apple Podcast and submit it. I'm going to have a link to the Google form because I'm not accepting anymore, obviously, but you can go look at it as a reference. So that's what we did for our Google form. The next thing is I knew I wanted to create social posts. So social post meaning posts that I'm going to put on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all the places I knew well in advance I needed to create these. I did some for IG stories as well. And I don't know about y'all, but I mean, I'm pretty good in Canva. This is my graphic design tool where I create everything that you see, like my YouTube thumbnails. Like if you see any kind of pretty pictures on, I use Canva for all of that. And sometimes it takes a while. Like I sorely underestimate how long it's going to take me to create a Canva like image or graphic, because I get in there and I start tweaking it and I start messing with it. And then I'm like, oh, I think this font should be bold. Oh no, that one should be italicized. This one should be that. So it usually takes me longer. I'll say, oh, I just need 30 minutes and I could create all of them. No, that's not how it happened. That's how it happens in my mind. That is not how it happens in real time. So if you're thinking about doing a review giveaway, I highly recommend planning everything out on paper, in Asana, in a Google Doc. I don't care where you plan it out, but put it all in a place where you can actually step out what needs to happen. So when you do go into Canva, you're not wasting time. You already know, okay, I'm creating, a shot for someone, like here is where, like a screenshot, this is where you would go to enter the giveaway. Here's how you enter the giveaway, right? Because I wanted to tell people how it needed to happen. And then daily emails. Y'all know, if you're on my email list, I love sending emails. It's so much fun for me. And I knew that I wanted to send an email every day of the giveaway. And for those of you that are like, oh my gosh, you sent emails for 5 days straight. Actually, I sent them for 6 days. I sent them for 6 days straight. Okay. And so if you didn't get any of these, maybe I can link to, there's a thing in ConvertKit now where you can make them public. So I may figure that out of how I can make all my emails public, or I may put together a guide. That's actually probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to put together a guide so it'll walk through exactly how I did all the giveaways. It'll have the swipe copy emails to kind of give you an idea of how this could work for you and your own podcast review. So we're going to make that happen. So what I did at the very top of all these emails, so I sent one the day before. So I sent one on Sunday, right? It started on Monday. I sent an email on Sunday, and I'm actually just going to read the top of it to you because I think that this was so important to have. Again, I use ConvertKit. This is my email service provider. I've talked about them before. I'll have a link in the show notes. If you want to try ConvertKit out, they have a plan now that you can use them for free until you have your first 1,000 subscribers, which is incredible. They did not have that whenever I first started. So take advantage of that. If you're looking for a place to house your email list, they are fantastic. But what I want to point out is at the very top, I wrote this because I knew that there would be people that were annoyed, right? You've been on people's email list and they just bombard you with freaking emails. And you're like, I do not care about this. I don't care about what they're talking about. I'm just here for their weekly content or their weekly stuff. I don't care about whatever it is that they're promoting or whatever that they're doing. I know that, maybe that's you. Maybe you're listening to this. You're like, yes, Krystal, I love you. You're fantastic. I want to hear all your podcast stuff, but I could care less about your giveaway that you did. That's totally fine. And I knew that that was going to happen. So at the very top of every single one of my giveaway emails, I wrote, we're in the middle of a giveaway with lots of fun prizes, and we'll be sending emails daily to announce winners and new prizes. But if you don't want those emails, no worries. Click here and you'll just receive our regular Friday email. This was really important to me because if you have an online business, if you launch things pretty regularly, you know that when you launch something, you're going to lose a lot of subscribers. It's just because maybe it's someone's brand new on your list and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was going to be such a commitment and they were going to send so many freaking emails. I'm done. Unsubscribe. That's okay. That's okay. It used to really bother me. Don't get me wrong. And I think that if anybody is brand new to having email marketing and trying to understand it, like it hurts. It stings a little bit when you're like, oh my gosh, someone doesn't like me. They don't want to be in my emails. But now I'm like, okay, that's fine. They weren't for me because my people will hang around and chill with me and do the giveaway stuff, or they'll just click on it and be like, oh, Krystal, we love you. I just want my regular Friday email. That's fine. I'm okay with it. So I wanted to just kind of give you an idea of something that you could write at the top of all of your promotional emails. I was like, hey, by the way, we're in the middle of this review giveaway. I'm going to be sending every single day for this whole week. I'm going to be sending something. If you don't want those, click here. And there's an automation where people won't get those emails. So just so you know, you can send a ton of emails. Just give your people an out. right? Give them a reason to be like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to get them all. And then the people that want to know about the prizes will hang around and read every single email. So the next thing was I had a tab in Asana for prizes. That's where I actually listed out on day 1, this is what I'm going to give away. On day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And I actually had like how I was going to create the emails for all the prizes. I did this again, it's like the nesting dolls. So I had a task that said, okay, day 1, signed copies of the book. Like I'm going to give away this many. And then I actually wrote up the email. This is what I was talking about, y'all. Like I had these emails wrote up beforehand and I said, congrats, you're a winner. And I wrote everything out beforehand. That way, whenever someone did win, I wasn't like racking my brain like, oh, what am I supposed to say? How can I make this personal? How can I really say something that's meaningful like in the moment? And then like, I don't know about y'all, I'm not great at writing under pressure. I do a lot better when I have more time. So in planning out weeks in advance, I had the time to write up something that was thoughtful, meaningful, and had all of the correct information. So whenever I announced Monday's winner, all I did was I went in, copy and pasted, I changed the name to the person that won, I input their email, and then that was it. So make this a lot easier on yourself by being more organized and being more prepared. Okay, so we've gone over emails, prizes, deadlines. Really, that was just a task for me to create the deadlines whenever I created my Asana project. And then I knew because the way my content falls, I wanted to create a podcast episode and a YouTube video about the giveaway. Now, my YouTube video ended up being a live instead of a regular pre-recorded video, simply because it would be kind of weird to talk about a review giveaway in a YouTube video before I had everything, which is why I'm creating a YouTube video that will encompass everything for everybody that wants to know how I do a podcast review giveaway. It's going to have all the goodies in that YouTube video. And it's probably going to be a long one. I typically don't make really long YouTube videos. That one's probably going to be a long one. And then podcast episodes, like I said, that was episode 250. It aired during the review giveaway as another incentive to remind people, hey, by the way, we're doing this review giveaway. Everything's super meta, right? We're doing a podcast review giveaway. So review this podcast because we're right in the middle of said giveaway, right? It's so meta. I understand it, but it was how I knew that I could keep talking about it and promoting it without bugging the crap out of everybody, right? Because I'm giving you value. So if you're thinking, well, when would be a good time for me to do this? Should I create a podcast episode about it? You probably don't need to, because you probably don't teach podcast review giveaways, but you could take an opportunity in planning out your content to talk about maybe something related to the prizes or something related to why the giveaway is important to you or why giving back to your community is important as it relates to your business or the journey that you're on. So I love, and this is just such a great marketing tool, to have through lines for all of your content for why you're doing everything that you're doing. So maybe even write that as like, if you're going to sit down and plan all this out, I highly recommend coming back to this episode, listening to it over and over again to get all the nuggets. But I think it's important to maybe write at the top of your paper, right at the top of your Asana, however you're brainstorming this information, say, why am I doing this? Why is this important? Right? And maybe you just have, for me, giving back is one of those things that I love to do. It makes my heart so happy because I'm able to do it. And I think that being generous is something, again, it's good juju, it's good karma, and I believe that it comes back to you tenfold. So, y'all, we have so much to cover still. Okay, so let's real fast go through the stats. And like I said, the YouTube video that's coming out about this will have so much of this detail. So if I miss anything, write to me and say, hey, we want to hear about this, because I'm going to be creating the YouTube video very, very soon after this. So let's go to stats and ratings before the giveaway started. So what did that look like? You're going to hear me clicking around because what I'm doing is I'm in Asana And I wrote all of these things out before we started. I did. I was like, okay, if I'm going to measure this, going back to my scientific method, right? Like how does the scientific method work? We have to have measurable results. So I wrote everything down. Let me see. Where'd my Asana go? Screens are disappearing on me here. So before the giveaway actually happened, so this would have been anywhere from April 25th, right? Because it started on the 26th, April 25th. And before, I had 64 ratings for the podcast. Now, where did I find this information? I found this on chartable.com. You've probably heard me talk about it. I have a YouTube video I'll link to in the show notes where I walk you through how I use Chartable. But that was the best place for me to see it. I don't like using my phone to go back and look because, again, it may or may not be there in the place that like how people submitted it. But then I looked at my rank history. Okay, wait, I'm jumping ahead. Hang on. So ratings, that's what we were talking about. I had 64 ratings that were mostly 5-star, a few 4-star, and 1-star ratings. I didn't have any 2 or 3. So I think I only had about 1-star rating, which, I mean, come on, everybody's going to have a 1-star rating. I'm not even upset about it, especially because most of them are 5 and 4-star ratings. But now, can you guess how many I have? Because this is really cool to see. So I have 75, which you're like, Krystal, that doesn't sound like a lot. It's more than I had. So I have 75. I had 64. Now I have 75. And again, these are all through Apple. I'm not even looking at the other ones that were submitted. I'm just looking through Apple. And if I look at the actual ratings and reviews that were submitted that week, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I had 17 reviews that were submitted via Apple this week. Okay, so the last review that I had was from March 17th, 2021, before the review started. And then now all of these are from the giveaway. And I actually had 20 participants that entered into the giveaway. So this was really interesting. I think it was really cool to see how all of this like played out based on everything that, I don't know, it was really cool. And I'm just, reviews are one of those things that I just love reading. And I love seeing them. Like I see, I found Krystal when she was still the rookie. I loved her then, but when she rebranded to the Proffitt Podcast, I became her number one fan. I have to meet Krystal in person one day as she has helped me plan my podcast more than she'll ever know. Thank you, Krystal. So that was so cool to read these and to see them because now I have so much marketing material that's fresh. Have you ever seen people that will, share a podcast review and you look at the date and you're like, ooh, that's from like 3 years ago. And they're still putting that on the front page of their website? Don't get me wrong. A review, a testimonial, all that is good. It's fantastic, no matter how old it is. But what I think immediately is whenever I see a review or testimonial that's more than a year old, I start to question, well, did their content start sucking after that? Like, was it terrible after, why are like no recent people leaving reviews? And maybe that's just my critical marketing brain, but these are the things that I think about. So I love seeing the reviews on here. They're really, really just like, I thank y'all so much. I appreciate every single one of y'all that entered into the giveaway. And the last thing that I want to talk about is, did my podcast go up? Did it go down in the charts? And what changed? So this is where you're going to want to watch the YouTube video because this was so interesting to me. And I actually probably need to take a screenshot before things change. But I'm in Chartable and I can see like I'm in Apple Podcast, the United States of America, how to, right? Like that is my category. And if I look at the rankings on April 25th at 1 a.m., like that's like the timestamp that they have on Chartable, I was ranked at number 210. And the weird thing, as I'm looking at this chart, is there was nothing from April 25th. It does not change until May 1st. So the whole time I did this review giveaway, there are no changes in the chart. And I'm like, what happened? What happened here, right? Because everyone says you get more reviews, like everything. Like I went from 210 to 217 on May 1st. But if you look at weeks prior, I bounce up and down. I go up to number 119 and then down to 167 and up, like back up to 127. Like it goes all over the place. But for the week that I did this review giveaway, the line is almost flat. It is almost flat. And I have no explanation for this. I don't. Like, I was shocked. Like, why is this flat? This makes no sense to me. Why did it, I almost went down when everyone tells you, like, you're going to jump in the charts whenever y'all heard I just got 17 more reviews. Why did it slightly go down the week that I got all of these fantastic reviews? I don't know. And I know that I'm kind of leaving this episode like in a cliffhanger, but it's going to be more research and more of me looking into like, why did this happen? Like why I don't understand it. It's very strange. And it's more something I'm going to dive into in the YouTube video that's coming. But you know what? I talked about it and now I feel like I have to make it. So you're going to be seeing a actual debrief, a full-blown debrief of this, because I feel like I need to wrap up this episode. Here we are. We're already 45 minutes in and there's so much more I could still talk. I could tell you about when I sent my emails and what they look like and all the swipe copy and everything. So I'm going to create a review giveaway debrief and dump everything in there. So if you are wanting to create a review for, a review giveaway for your show, then I want you to go grab this. So it's going to be at krystalproffitt.com/review debrief. I know it's a long word. I'm going to have it in the show notes, so don't worry about it. When this episode airs, it will be there. The show notes for this episode, again, are krystalproffitt.com/episode 255. So go check it out. Go grab this giveaway debrief because I think it's going to be very helpful, and at least it will give you somewhere to start. You won't be starting from scratch, right? I've already done all the hard work and shared everything with you, and I'm really excited to see what you do with this information. So again, go to krystalproffitt.com/episode 255 for everything that we talked about here today, and be on the lookout for the YouTube video that's coming out. I'm really excited because I'm going to create it shortly after we finish here today, but I think it was a lot of fun. At the end of the day, would I do it again? Yes. At the end of the day, was I excited about my results? Absolutely. At the end of the day, did I care that I spent money on doing this giveaway? Not a bit. Because again, I am in a place in my business that I was able to do that. So if you don't feel like I just can't do anything, $5 gift cards, something like access to your program, a coaching call. If it's just giving away your time and you're able to do that, then start somewhere, right? That's the motto around here. So I just want you to start thinking about this. Let these ideas percolate. Like I said, come back, listen to this episode again, and let me know what you think. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. This was so much fun. I'm jazzed up. Actually, as soon as I get off of this, I'm going to go write my notes down of the things that I thought about while I was creating this episode, because I'm going to make this YouTube video maybe the best one I've ever made. And I'm really excited about it. So again, show notes one more time, krystalproffitt.com, episode 255. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Proffitt Podcast listeners. Thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Krystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal. It could be totally anonymous. Or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Krystal a text message. And I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of Fan Mail Shoutouts.